What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right, and the season that they're having. Um, some people saying that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are underachieving, right? And I don't know if I feel like they're underachieving. I think that last year they kind of flew under the radar because of the expectations. People didn't really they didn't really expect much from Cleveland, right? They did, of course they had Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a standout ball player. But like from the rest of when you look at the talent, the rest of the talent around him, people wasn't really expecting them to do much. So they went on a run and they won some games and they made it, they made it to the playoffs. But this year is different, right? Because they're not able to sneak up on people this year like they did last year. And so when you're not able to sneak up on people, then that means that you're getting people, you're getting their best game because people know as a team to take you serious. And that's what I think, I think that's what's going on right now with Cleveland. So now I was listening to the Run It Back podcast with Lou Williams, Boogie Cousins, and Michelle Beadle, right? And they was discussing this very thing. And so what I want to do is I want to play the audio from that, and then I want to come back and add some more of my input as to what I think is really going on with the Cavaliers.
All a good segue too, because now we'll turn it over to Cleveland. We all were here last year. We all sort of went through that journey with them. It was a crazy ride. Not sure what we're going to talk about here with them now because things have changed, but Donovan Mitchell has not. He's got career highs right now in scoring efficiency, and they are right now a play-in team. There's going to be a lot of "are we wasting his best year ever" talk out there, Lou. Do you think that the Cavs are?
You got the coach. I mean, listen, you got the coach of the year. You got two all-star teammates. You got a great fan base. As an individual talent, are one of the best shooting guards in the league. Where are the years getting wasted? And that's not directly to Donovan Mitchell. This is a narrative, right? Like the theme of today is managing expectations. Like when you have a team that starts a season 15-0 and you make yourself a legitimate threat in the East. You're not sneaking up on nobody no more. You're not sneaking up on teams. And now teams are game planning to play a really good basketball team. And this year they haven't responded to it in the way that they have in the past. But
and you know what? Let me say something else about Donovan Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell offensively is really putting up some really good numbers. But then like Lou Williams and like I said earlier, you're not sneaking up on anybody, right? So and people going to give you their best game. You're not sneaking up on them. So if you're not sneaking up on people, and somebody made this point too about Donovan Mitchell, like Donovan Mitchell, he gonna put up his numbers, but he's not really making his teammates better. He's getting his 30 points, and however many, whatever his stats are, he meeting the stat line every night. But now you gotta make your teammates better. Like you draw the double team, then you got to be able to hit the open man. And that's the next level. Like that's the challenge that come with, like, it's easy to sneak up on somebody one season and then expectations rise. So now your play, the fans have expectations, the team has expectations. And now you have to raise your level because nobody is, I don't mind you getting 30 points if we still going to beat you. And so Donovan Mitchell just has to make his teammates, basically, in my opinion, he got to make them better. And with Darius Garland, right? Darius Garland, in my opinion, is not a number 2 option on a playoff team. At best, I think Darius, he's a point guard, and I think Darius should probably be like at least at best the 3rd option. So Now in the East, they was able to get away with Darius being number 2 last year, the second option behind Donovan, because the East is not as strong. But on like Darius Garland, and that's no knock on him. It's just that you talking about like talent, like the talent level that's on this team. They got some great pieces. There's some really good pieces, but a lot of those guys are like they're role players, defensive players, and stuff like that. But they need, if Donovan had a legitimate number 2, then Garland was the number 3. Then yeah, this team would be a lot more dangerous.
The pieces are there. They've dealt with some injuries, sure, but what team doesn't, right? You look around the league, what team doesn't have some adversity when it comes to health and guys being available? Cleveland had one of the deepest basketball teams, but the difference between last season and this season, everybody knows you're coming. Everybody knows this is a good basketball team, and we're preparing to play a good basketball team. So Cleveland just hasn't responded well to getting hit with everybody's best shot that they have when they play the Cleveland Cavaliers. So as far as a conversation about wasting his best years, if anything, they've put him in a great position to maximize his years, and they just haven't met the level of expectation.
Yeah, exactly. Donovan Mitchell, they're not wasting Donovan Mitchell's great years. Donovan Mitchell has to level up his play. And that's part of being a professional. That's part of being like a superstar, or a superstar. Like, it's levels to this, right? And he's at this level right now, and he probably feel like he's balling out. But even with him balling out, scoring like close to 30 points or around 30 points a game, he still needs to level his game up and make Darius Garland a better ball player, and everybody else, on that court with him. He got to make those guys better in order for him to and the team to advance in the playoffs, and that's what it is. So I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers are wasting his best years. I think it's up to Donovan to maximize his, and continue to learn the game.
So that's not a dig on Donovan Mitchell. Collectively as a group, they just got to play better basketball.
I agree, man. Lou, you own it today. Like you can't look at this situation.
Yeah, he's been chilling.
You can't look at this situation Donovan Mitchell is in and think they haven't surrounded him with the team or organization that's trying to actually compete. They've done everything correct, and for me, you just can't go from the top of the mountaintop to one of the worst teams in the league the exact next season. So I think this is on the guys in the locker room. Do I think they have some things to figure out with their roster? Absolutely. The combination of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell is just not going to work. It's a small, it's a small backcourt as far as
Right, and that's another thing, right? Donovan Mitchell, I think, is like about 6'3". Darius Garland is shorter than that, right? And so, it's just like Boogie Cousins just said, it's a small backcourt. And then when you get into situations where you're dealing with taller, more athletic backcourts, then that's going to pose a problem. That's why I said you don't want Darius Garland to be your number 2, your second option, or at least on the offensive end. Defensively, defensively, I think for somebody like Darius Garland, he would have to be like a high energy type player, whereas though he trying to get steals and turn people over, right? Because he have rim protectors behind him. So it's about these guys in the locker room, like Boogie said, just raising their level of play. They're not going to sneak up on nobody. And so if you're not sneaking up on nobody and people realize that you're a good team, then that means that you got to get better. If they wanted to have more success than what they had last year, then you got to get better. They got a small backcourt, so that's going to be a problem. But the thing about it is you got to find ways to win with that small backcourt. They're not the first team to have a small backcourt in NBA history, and other teams have found ways to win with small backcourts. You got to have some rim protectors back there. And some defenders behind these guys, so these guys can pressure up on the ball and use the fact that they're shorter and closer to the ground to make it hard for other teams to get into their offense and stuff like that. So they can't play the way they did last year and expect those, to get better this year. It just don't work like that.
Donovan Mitchell being 6'3", Garland. I mean, let's give him 6'1". That's just not, and it's two ball dominant guards. It's not really a recipe that's going to work long term. And I do think Cleveland is starting to see that, and that's something they will have to figure out moving forward. But as far as, putting him in a position to succeed, I think they've done everything they can. This is just, and obviously, Donovan Mitchell has stepped up even more from the previous season. But, now you got to start looking at the guys, around you. Are you getting their best efforts every night? Have they developed from the previous season? Have they gotten better?
Yeah, I agree with all that. So everybody got to get better. Donovan Mitchell has to make them better as him being their leader and their superstar. Darius Garland. I mean, he's 6'6". You're not gonna get any taller, but it's not like it's over with. There's some things that Darius Garland can do on the court to help out his team. He got to be more of a he got to pressure the ball more on defense, but like guys like they don't, it's just so many opportunities. It's like leaving money on the table. You can do more than what you're doing, but you're satisfied with your effort. If you're satisfied with your effort, then you're not gonna you're not really gonna step up. So, and I think like I said, today's basketball players they just leave so much on the table. They don't play both sides. Just because you're 6 feet tall don't mean that you can't play defense. There's some things on defense you can do that big men can't do. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check you all out in the next video. Peace.